A rising number of people are qualifying as teachers, but the number of full-time vacancies is not increasing with them. Competition is getting tougher.
The bottom line is this: if you don't interview well, you won't get the job, period.
But how to interview well? 5 trainee teachers show how it should be done and how it shouldn't, as they compete to see who will best impress in the interview room. A 5-minute preliminary interview will determine which 2 will go through to the next stage. Of the 3 remaining, 1 will be coached to see how much they can improve.
I think to come across with enthusiasm for your subject and for making a difference to children's lives is very important. And to try and show something of your personality. After all, when we look back at our own school days and the teachers that impressed us most, I think, or helped us most, usually they were people that we could identify with in some way, that we felt some warmth for that person. They gave us something of themselves. So to be saying something that gives us something of you.
Alex, thank you very much indeed for your application. Good to see you here.
In order to best compare performances, the interviewees will be assessed purely on their knowledge of educational theory and personal qualities as teachers.
From when I was at school, I didn't necessarily have the easiest of childhood experiences. The school I was at, I was bullied quite ferociously, and that's obviously led to me having a very keen eye when walking around the school.
You're going straight into it.
Okay. I've worked on and off with kids for about 5 years now. I do a lot of work in the States at summer camps and mentoring with kids, and I just love it.
What personal qualities do you think you've got which are necessary to make you a successful teacher?
I'm confident. I think that's one of the key things. Confidence is very important. Obviously, having to stand up in front of the classroom, the essential skill.
Why should I appoint you?
Why should you appoint me? I feel I've... Sorry, it's a horrible question, these ones, aren't they? Why me? I feel I've got the enthusiasm and I've got the patience with children. I feel I don't get too angry with them too quickly.
I feel I have a good passion and enthusiasm for my subject, and I wish to take that over to the children of today's society and get them passionate about PE the same as I am.
We've seen the 5 candidates this morning. I think if we run through very quickly them in the order that we saw them.
Yeah.
Okay. So Alex was the first guy up.
Yeah.
I thought he was incredibly honest when he was talking about the bullying issue.
Ferociously. Bullied ferociously.
And I thought, wow, this is just so refreshing that someone's got the confidence to be able to say this. Yeah. Peter Harvey, this is the fellow who'd done a lot in Camp America. Clearly, that's telling me that this chap really has a real feeling for young people. Third one was Craig.
Yeah.
Some of his answers were perfectly sound in terms of the answers that he gave, but bluntly, he didn't light my fire. And then we went on to Stephen.
Yeah. Now, this could just be nerves, but when you said, I don't get too angry too quickly, I felt he was anticipating behavioural problems in the classroom, problems with discipline, but that was not a good answer in a job interview.
And finally,
Michael
Pulford, who had a lovely smile throughout the whole of the interview, this lovely smile, talked immediately about a passion.
So, which 3 go through to final interview? And of those, who will be coached before they go?
From my view, I think certainly Alex should go through to tomorrow, along with Michael.
Stephen, I do think, has got so much to him, but I'm not sure we saw it. And maybe, you know, working with him tomorrow, you could see something else.
Game, set and match. Stephen Jones to be coached by you between now and tomorrow.
Stephen Jones has taken a risk by giving up a lucrative job in the city and is finding that learning to teach is more than just hitting it off with children.
When you're in the classroom, how comfortable on a scale of 0 to 10 do you feel?
About 9.5, probably.
Really?
That's
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, on a scale of 0 to 10, how comfortable do you feel in the interview situation?
Prior to coming to the room, probably about 8 or 9, and as soon as I'm in the room, about 3 or 4.
Right, and what happens to cause that dip there?
I really don't know. I don't know, something psychological there, probably.
OK. When we suddenly get a change in mood like that, what has caused it
Yep.
is actually some sort of inner commentary. It's our thought processes.
OK.
OK. So usually we're telling ourselves something
Right,
at that point.
OK.
What do you think you're telling yourself in that moment?
I might say something which is wrong.
Yeah? Or I might look...
thick, stupid, whatever.
Yeah. Because these inner commentaries
Or what
can be
define what you say.
really detrimental.
It comes back to the ignorance, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is I might not be stupid, but I don't know possibly enough of what I need to know for the job I'm going for, possibly.
Well, now that is actually coming across as the major thing here to me, rather than the psychological block, because your anxiety principally, I think, is about amassing this information, being able to regurgitate
That's
it,
probably yes.
and to find the time to do justice to yourself. Is there something that you can come up with here that is going to enable you to feel, yeah, I've got that?
As you say, is to not just look at the bit of paper we've been given, but to sort of assess it, to look at it, pull out bits from it, and even make up your own words, which a lot of the time is the hard part.
When you've written your little concise and effective definitions... how about trying to deliver them to yourself in the mirror,
looking at yourself,
with a relaxed demeanour and looking straight in your eye? How would that feel?
I could try that.
If you could explain it to somebody who knew nothing about it,
absolutely. And
do you think that that would reinforce it for you?
It probably would.
So,
like
do you think that that could apply by talking to Michelle about it and explaining it, so that, you know, you have to explain it?
I'm confident that would be helpful, yes.
Right.
Lack of preparation may reflect Stephen's easygoing nature, but perhaps is not the best approach for interviews.
He's a very relaxed person generally, but I think in some ways he doesn't always take things perhaps as seriously as he should.
But tonight, he's taking his homework very seriously.
Assessment for Learning is a tool which, it's a process of assessment so that we can teach the children, given the individual children the targets. That's where Assessment for Learning will help. And it was really, really hard to do.
Right, tell me all about Assessment for Learning.
Assessment for Learning, thank you. Assessment for Learning, the way I see Assessment for Learning is that it's going to help us, teachers in the classroom, to be able to assess how the children are performing, and actually see how everybody else is doing, and actually learn that way, and actually go from there and build confidence that way.
Sounds very good. Too many ums.
Lots of ums. Go on, tell me.
Too many hand movements.
It's the day of the final interview for the 3 trainees, and Stephen's taken up Christine's suggestion of a calming early morning stroll.
I'm feeling quite anxious and nervous today. A bit different to yesterday, because yesterday I just didn't really think too much about it.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Jones. Thank you.
So, will Stephen's nerves hold out?
What are your strengths?
Strengths, confidence, stature, rapport with children.
You know what's coming next, don't you? What are your weaknesses?
I'm really struggling with the theory of teaching, understanding it. It's all brand new to me. The main challenge I've come up and fought with the last 8-10 weeks is that in maths, my way isn't the only way. Somebody else might do it a better way.
How would you assess a student's performance in your subject? What sort of criteria would you use?
You've got assessment of learning. You've got the assessment of learning where you're constantly assessing how children are learning in the classroom, and you then evaluate the lesson at the end, or during the lesson sometimes.
What are your impressions of the school?
It's on first impressions, the school is really big. But yeah, it's actually quite sort of impressive school, really good, nice front building.
Thank you.
And this is the competition Stephen's up against.
Any teacher can become an excellent teacher. To what extent would you agree with that?
Initially, my initial thought is potentially not any teacher can become an excellent teacher. I think there are certain qualities of a teacher that I don't think you can learn. An ability to interact with the children cannot, I don't think, be learned. You either can and you do, or you don't and you find it very, very, very difficult. At the moment I'm planning to do a set of assemblies on my experiences through life and what's led me to the position I'm in now. And I'd like to refer my experiences onto other people and potentially inspire them to take their education further.
One of the things you will have recognised is that children are not easily motivated. How are you going to inspire them?
This school is a school that puts everybody through GCSE PE, and obviously not every student favours PE, they don't look at it positively. I think a fantastic way to motivate students, especially those that aren't keen on PE, is to try and put across the other benefits of PE, such as citizenship, communication, team working skills, and generally the benefits of health that can be gained and carried on throughout their lives.
It's time to reflect on the candidate's performance.
Alex, a very confident guy, but a guy who was infusing this passion. He came over as a man who has thought a lot about his career. Quite clearly he's genned up with regards to educational thinking.
I thought Stephen had very good eye contact, which I thought was absolutely brilliant.
The answers which were coming back, by and large, were technically accurate, where they could be technically accurate, but they came across as being slightly textbookish, particularly when you were asking him about assessment and student performance. He was talking about you can use this, you can use that, as opposed to saying this is how I would deal with it, this is what I would actually use within the classroom. The other point which I homed in on, when you asked him about the school, he zeroed in on the building.
Yes.
It was all about the building,
Yes.
the big building, but nothing about the student.
One of the crucial things for me was Stephen saying, my way isn't the only way, and this for me was a huge positive because I think he now has recognised that there are other ways to do it, and he is almost learning from the students.
As the candidates wait for the result, what is the verdict on Stephen's performance after coaching?
Yesterday's performance was at best adequate, at less than best, less than adequate. Today's performance was sound. There's been a real shift in terms of what's happened between the 2 days, and that must be down to the coaching.
But sadly, the improvement isn't enough to get Stephen the job.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Michael.
There's still work to do, but the experience has been positive.
I'm glad they thought I did better this time, so that's the main thing, that was the main outcome. It's been a good experience, it's something I now know I've got to work on.
So for job seekers, the advice is,
Go out there, make sure that you get practice in, make sure you have 1 interview, 2 interviews, practice interviews, 3 practice interviews, and if necessary, get someone to coach you.